Now, from West Tennessee's News Channel, this is ABC 7 Eyewitness News at 5:30.
We begin tonight with a forum some state leaders hope will turn out voters in 2012. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jonquil Newland. Democratic leaders from across the state gathered in Jackson this weekend for the Tennessee Value Summit. This year's summit featured members from the Democratic National Committee, as well as Memphis Mayor A.C. Wharton and former U.S. Representative Lincoln Davis. The summit included interactive training and workshops. Guest speakers said they focus on helping Democrats build and deliver a winning message to voters in the upcoming 2012 elections.
People vote, they also ought to know the facts, they ought to study, they ought to do research and know who they're voting for and who they may be voting against. I think so often there's folks don't really take enough time to actually look at the qualities of each of the candidates, and as a result of that, maybe follow party lines.
The Value Summit began in East Tennessee and traveled throughout the state before ending up in Jackson. Well, another presidential hopeful has officially thrown his hat into the race. Former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty will announce tomorrow that he will seek the Republican nomination for president. But many wonder, how good are his chances? ABC's David Curley has the details from Washington.
First of all, I'm very concerned about the direction of the country.
The Midwestern Mr. Nice, some call boring, Tim Pawlenty will make it official Monday. He wants to be president. The former Minnesota governor was profiled in the latest edition of Time magazine.
He's a colorful guy. He's kind of a prankster. He's a little bit goofy. He's a champion foosball player.
Pawlenty has been flying under the radar. He hopes his announcement will reintroduce him to Republican voters who don't seem happy with their presidential field.
I think to some degree his strategy is to be the last man standing.
There is plenty to attack. Mitt Romney passed that health care system in Massachusetts that looks a lot like the president's plan.
I agree with Mitt Romney.
Newt Gingrich, in the first week of his campaign, angered Republicans by attacking his party's budget and Medicare plan.
I made a mistake.
And John Huntsman worked for President Obama.
Thank you, John.
As an ambassador. But he told George Stephanopoulos he would have voted for the Republican budget.
Because the only thing that scares me more than that is the trajectory that our debt is taking.
So here's where we stand. Gingrich, Pawlenty, Paul in. Romney probably waiting for Huntsman, Daniels, Bachmann, and Palin, with Trump and Huckabee out.
There's going to be a call for anybody else probably until early fall, when it's really last call. It's like the bar calling and saying, we only got another 15 minutes before we close this down.
There are still a couple of wild cards out there. Jeb Bush and Chris Christie both continue to say they won't run. We'll see. Republicans clearly aren't happy with the slate they have so far. David Curley, ABC News, Washington.
A computer glitch in a new $37 million computer system has caused hundreds of foster care parents to miss monthly room and board payments from the state. Officials with the Tennessee Department of Children's Services says foster and adoptive parents for more than 1,200 children statewide either received their payments late or not at all. A DCS spokesman says the agency is spending $300,000 for help managing the financial accounting component of the software. He says the problem started while transferring data stored on a multiple software system to a single system called the Tennessee Family and Child Tracking System. Well, now it's time for a first look at weather. I'm joined by meteorologist Brittany Patterson. And Brittany, today was another very warm day, but obviously there's been some pop-up thunderstorms around here.
There's been plenty, and I think there's going to be a few more before the evening is over. Let's take a look outside right now. First look at your forecast brought to you by Charter Business. We saw quite a bit of this today, a lot of cloud cover across the area. It kind of kept temperatures down, though, even though it was humid. Look at some of the numbers for today. We saw 77 degrees late this afternoon. Overnight last night dropped down to 66. Normals this time of year, 81 and 60. Records for today actually 92 and 42, set back in 87 and 2002. As far as that rainfall goes, it was brief. About 1/10 of an inch at the airport, 8/100ths of an inch at WBBJ. Now, look at Fast Track Radar, kind of a wider look at what's going on. Another little cell crossing into Madison County right along I-40. Another stronger cell just on the other side of the Mississippi River. There are some severe thunderstorm warnings out for that particular storm. In fact, if we can switch over to Viper, that warning does extend into Tipton and Lauderdale County. Most of that storm, though, still on the other side of the river. That's the only warnings and watch in effect for West Tennessee, although I think we could still see some as we go throughout the course of the evening, as well as warm and humid conditions continuing the next few days. We'll also check out your Memorial Day forecast coming up in just a little bit. Jonquil.
All right, thank you, Brittany. At least 20 reported tornadoes ripped across the Plains states this weekend, 14 in Kansas, 5 in Oklahoma, and 1 in Missouri. But hardest hit was a small town of Reading, Kansas, where nearly all of the 200 homes were severely damaged and at least one person was killed. ABC's Jackie Moretsky has the story.
Go that way, go that way, go that way. This was the scene in Lakeside, Kansas. Storm clouds moving, then a funnel cloud forming. Then debris being tossed into the air. Just miles away in the small town of Reading, Kansas, twisters ripped through the town and left more than 20 homes destroyed and 200 more damaged. Residents were completely stunned.
I went to hide in the closet, and next thing I knew it, the trailer was shaking. I noticed the trailer was shaking, and I said, oh, this is good.
In Ada, Oklahoma, storm chasers caught this incredible funnel cloud just 80 miles from Oklahoma City. Fortunately, there were few reports of damage. And just before sunset in Amazonia, Missouri, funnel clouds blinded the skies. Listen to this. Residents in southwest Topeka were given some warning when these sirens went off. They were able to get out of the way in time. As you can see from these damaged cars, the golf ball-sized hail fell hard and fast.
FEMA aid for storm victims throughout Tennessee has topped $5 million. So far, more than 8,000 Tennesseans have registered with FEMA for disaster assistance. Close to $3.5 million has been given away in housing grants to help with recovery rental expenses and home repair costs. More than $800,000 will cover disaster-related needs like funeral expenses and personal property loss, and more than $600,000 has been given out by the U.S. Small Business Administration for low-income loans to eligible homeowners, renters, or business owners. State officials urge everyone in the affected counties to register with FEMA. Well, those storm victims inspired members at the First Presbyterian Church who want them to know they are not forgotten. So today they devoted part of their service to them with a special musical tribute. ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporter Daniel Wilkerson was there and joins us live with a story. Daniel?
Well, with many across West Tennessee still affected by the recent storms and tornadoes, many are looking for ways to express just how they feel. This morning, members of First Presbyterian Church here in Jackson heard the premiere of the organ solo Eternal Rest. Dr. Ronald Bowd wrote the song in memory of all those who lost their lives in the storms that ravaged the South and the Midwest. Those in attendance say Dr. Bowd has a gift that allows him to express in music what many are trying to say.
I think it was very prayerful. I think it was very reflective. I think it was somber, and yet as we neared the end of the piece, I think we felt God's protection.
Now, Dr. Bowd says he knows the solo won't appeal to the masses, but he says he wrote the song to evoke reflection. Now, coming up at 10, we'll show you how Dr. Bowd, what he has to say about the piece. Daniel Wilkerson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, thanks, Daniel. When we come back, why this tattoo has landed Warner Brothers a trip to court. And later in sports, Adam Wells will let us know who and where each West Tennessee sports team is heading in next week's spring fling in Murfreesboro. That and more in ABC 7 Eyewitness Sports.